Hi, I'm Emma, and this is my November reading wrap-up. So I realised when I was getting to the end of the month and I was reviewing the books that I'd read in the month, I have no memory and I was completely forgetting my thoughts on what the story was even about and all the character names. So I've decided to do this a little bit differently. It will make a difference for you, but I will be in different outfits throughout this video. So I wanted to start doing it as I've read the books rather than at the end of the month so that it's a bit fresher in my brain. I also have notes. So, yeah. So the first book that I read this month was Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. I've read one other Tessa Bailey book. It was My Killer Vacation, and I really liked that one. That was about a girl that went and she was on holiday and then she found a body, I think. And the detective guy, well, we all know how that goes. This story is a little bit different. So this is about a girl whose family are in like the renovation business. So they like buy and then do up houses and then sell them on, obviously for more money. Her entire family do this. It's a family business except for her. So Georgie is like the baby of the family and she gets treated as such. She is a party clown. So she goes to these kids' parties and she is their entertainment. She seems super sweet and it was nice hearing like about a character that it's something different, isn't it? You don't often hear about party clowns. So yeah, I liked Georgie. I did write some pros and cons. So Georgie is our main female character. Travis is our main male character. So Travis has just been let go from a baseball league because of an injury and he's moping around in his house and Georgie basically goes over there and kicks his bum and makes him get out of bed and, you know, she's known Travis her entire life. He's her brother's best friend. So yeah, she goes and does that and like gets him back on track again. So it was a fun story. I'm going to read you my pros and cons and then you'll know how I feel. So I enjoyed that he was, you know, the brother's best friend kind of trope. I thought that was really cute. I don't know, at the beginning it didn't feel super insta-lovey, which was nice. And the relationship was quite believable because they were really bickery kind of like you would be, I suppose, if I don't know, I don't have an older brother, but I imagine how it would be with like a sibling. And he is very supportive of Georgie. He doesn't really treat her like a baby like the rest of the family does. So that was really, really nice. The cons. There's only two I've written. So at the end, once they start like getting together, it is very like immediately insta love, which I didn't really like very much, but it does happen in these kind of books. And also Travis says baby girl so much. It gave me the ick. It gave me the ick immediately. She's trying to be this grown-up. She's trying to be seen as a grown-up and she's fed up with her family treating her like a baby and treating her like, you know, just someone they can brush off, and then he's constantly calling her baby girl. So I didn't enjoy that. But overall, I did really enjoy the book, and I gave it a 3 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. So yeah, I would pick that one up, and I'm going to pick up another Tessa Bailey book. I really enjoyed it. So that was the first book I read this month. The second book I read this month was I Knew You Were Trouble by Emma Ray. So thank you very much to Hera Books and for NetGalley for letting me read this one as an ARC. The book is published on the 21st of November, so it'll probably be out when you see this. It's basically about a girl called Lexi. She's used to doing like journalistic, like hard-hitting stories through a documentary and telling like the story of things that other people aren't really telling. And her company gets bought out and she winds up having to do a documentary for this boy band called Rebel Heart. It's a 4-boy boy band. She winds up doing this documentary for this boy band Rebel Heart, and she does not want to be there. She doesn't want to be doing it at all, and to be honest, they don't want her there, so it's equal. So she goes to Japan. She meets them in Japan and they're doing the tour. Lexi's going out there to replace another person that was doing the documentary because the boy band didn't want them there and they got rid of them. So she goes with her videographer Duncan, who is a Scottish man. They go together and yeah, she goes out there and they don't want her there basically. I did enjoy the characters and I enjoyed the story overall. I haven't really read anything like this before, so it did feel modern and different to me, and I really liked like the tour concept of it because you got to like go to different cities. I would have liked to have explored those cities a little bit more, but that's not really what it was about. Lexi was really relatable. She was a bit of a mess. She's a bit older than normal like book heroines. She was in her 30s, I believe, and Aidan, the main boy band guy. He just hated her. I wasn't convinced that he liked her at all throughout the book until like the end. So yeah, it took a little bit of time for Aiden and Lexi to warm up to each other. Yeah, it was enjoyable because of all the different aspects. I really liked the different countries. I liked the tour aspect. That was really cool. You could really like envision what was going on at the concerts and things like that. And there was a bit of talk about the fans. We got to meet each of the boys in the boy band briefly. I would have liked to maybe focus on like a couple of them and hear more of their story than like flip between the different boys. But it is what it is. And I just thought the only two negatives for me was I thought Lexi acted young for being in her 30s. But maybe she does just act young. And I wanted more Duncan because I thought he was a really great character. He didn't really speak much, which I liked. He seemed a bit moody, a bit grumpy. Yeah, I really liked Duncan. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars as well. So I did enjoy it and I would recommend. Thanks again, NetGalley. Okay, so I intended to update you after every book that I'd read, so I did an update you've just seen of the first 2 books, and then this is the last 3 books that I read this month. So I read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. It's part of the Clothbound Classics collection. I'll just leave a picture of it there. And to be honest, I don't have that many thoughts because I don't normally read anything similar to this, which is why I've been reading the Clothbound Classics. I did jot some things down. So I think I should have read Tom Sawyer first because it talks a lot about Tom Sawyer in the book, but I have then read that it's not needed to read both, so I'm not totally sure. But basically it's the adventures of Huckleberry, and he is on a river, and basically it's the adventures of Huckleberry as he travels up and down this river. I found it quite difficult to read because of the language, so the style it's written in is not something I'm used to, and it's kind of written with a dialect or an accent, and it's how it's written, so really struggled to get through it. But yeah, it was fine. I definitely wouldn't read it again, and I think obviously some of the language in the book now we don't use today, so the book does discuss slavery and some of the social aspects of the day, so it was definitely different, and I can now add the book to my collection of Penguin Clothbound Classics. Yeah, but I don't really know what my thoughts were on it. I didn't particularly enjoy it, but I think maybe it was important to read, so yeah, that one is ticked off the list. The next book I read, I was reading kind of alongside Huckleberry, so when it got a bit difficult to read, I would swap books. I read On the Wings of Blood by Brad Bolin, and this was a NetGalley arc, so thank you so much to NetGalley and to the publishers for letting me read this book early. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. There were vampires, there were dwarfs, there were dragons, witchy feelings, magic. It's basically Harry Potter, grown-up Harry Potter meets Hunger Games in this first book. So much went on. There's like enemies and it's all a little bit dark and it's set in a school. I was writing my thoughts as I got through the book. It was a chunky book. It felt chunky anyway. So basically this girl, Medra, she falls from the sky and she's found by this vampire prince, Blake, and he hates her and she hates him, so we all know where that's going. And they go to this school because she's special and she is being kept under the protection of this school, and there's lots of things that happen in the school. There's kind of like a Hunger Games like game situation. There's a lot of talk of magic and dragons and all of that stuff. Yeah, do you know what, I just would recommend it. You don't want to know too much going in, but I really liked the school setting. I liked how it felt kind of like grown-up Harry Potter-y. I can't wait to read some more about the world outside of the school. That would be really, really interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And I really like the cover as well. I'll put it there, but it's red. And yeah, I definitely would recommend this one. Then the final book that I read was not one that was on my TBR. I think I sacrificed one from my TBR to read this one. And it's I Don't Need Therapy and Other Lies I've Told Myself by Toni Lodge. So I know who Toni Lodge is from YouTube. So she has a YouTube or a podcast with Ryan. They're Australian. I'm not sure if they're like famous in Australia, but I only know them from YouTube, and she's really funny and really relatable. And this is basically It's a book about her, so it's her biography. I saw it come up on Everand, which is the reading subscription service I use, basically like Audible, and recognised her, so thought I would read it. And I enjoyed it. Enjoy is a weird word to use for it because it talks a lot about the grief of losing her mum and some really embarrassing moments in her life and how she met her husband and things like that. The chapters are short. She just talks about like different lies she's told to people or to herself and like going through that now and talking through it now. She talked about her mum, that was really sweet, and hearing about her when she was younger. I just really enjoyed it. It wasn't like an uplifting, great book, but it was just to basically like everyone's going through it and, you know, that kind of situation. So yeah, I did enjoy that book. Those are all the books that I read in November. Let me know if you've read any of them. Let me know what you're reading in December, because the next video you'll see will be my December TBR. So hopefully you'll come back and watch that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to hit the subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the notification, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.